LED lighting for the vehicle that I'm working on at the moment is 2011 XC70. This project is for door handle and door pocket lighting, so at the outset we'll give you some idea what you're going to need for this. This does not use the Volvo LED packs that I believe cost quite a bit of money. So what you're going to need for the door handles is some 5mm LEDs. These are cheap as chips, obviously in the colour that you decide that you're going to use. If you're going to do the door pockets, strip LEDs of the same. We'll go over the measurements for those in a moment. Now, just in case people are unaware, when you're looking at the LED, the right hand lead, as I have it here, which is the longer one, is the positive. So you'll need some 5mm LEDs, you'll need some 1K resistors. Now in the Volvo units, they actually include a diode in the negative lead. I'll just hold that up so you can see the orientation of this. It's bended at the bottom, goes into the negative side. I honestly do not think that that is necessary, but Volvo include it, so obviously if you want to, for the life of me, all I can see is it's in there as a reverse polarity protection. So what we need to do with these is to insert the 1K resistor into the positive side, and if you're going to use it, but I honestly believe that you can ignore this if you so wish, is the I've got 1.4001s here that I've used, which goes into the negative side. So what you really want to do is stagger those in there. You're going to need some let's have a look. Right, so you're going to need some twin, preferably a twin that has a clear marking on one side, so it just makes it easier to identify. I believe the Volvo ones, they supply them, they've got a pair of reds on there. Why they do that, I don't know. This only need be light duty stuff. In actual fact, for most of these I've actually used some very cheap, there we go, some very cheap light speaker wire. Yeah. So you'll need the LEDs, 1K resistors, 1N4001s if you're going to include those, some shrink sleeving and some suitable cable. So I'll just show you what we've done here. So this is how I have this. So you'll see there's the 1K, there's the 1004. Make sure when you put the shrink sleeving on there that it's back far enough so that when you solder this it doesn't pre-shrink it. So you're going to slide shrink sleeve up over the 1K side, shrink sleeve up over the other side, shrink those both, and then when they are shrunk you want a wider shrink sleeve to go up and over the whole lot, which you then shrink, and you will end up with something like this. It's well insulated, it's a nice solid, yeah, durable, have no problems whatsoever. And obviously once you've made these up, test them before you start to fit them. Test them. Okay, so that's what you'll need for the door handle LEDs. We have here, these are pretty good quality LED strips if you're going to do the pockets. These come, you can actually get these with varying lengths of connection wire on them. Now some of the cheap ones come with a very cheap flimsy wire on them, and to be quite honest with you, they can be an absolute nightmare for stripping, because on a lot of them the wire is so thin. Even using a stripper like this, it will break more more than it strips makes life very difficult. These are actually very good quality ones. The LED strips themselves are 20 centimeters. That is actually perfect for the door pocket, and they come with 20 centimeters of lead, which is absolutely spot on and perfect for the job. So ideally they are the strips that you want, obviously in the colour of your choice. On top of that, I really do suggest that you use these. Okay, these quick fit connectors. Now the male, where are we? The male you'll actually fit to the door card, and the female will be fitted to the door loom itself. It just means that if you ever need to take the door card off, it really is a simple case of unplugging your installation. I'm not a lover of snap lock connectors. I try and avoid those wherever possible, so obviously if that's what you want to do, that's absolutely fine. But again, if you're going to use snap locks, you could in actual fact snap lock this into the loom. I'm going to show you the method that I use, which is actually to strip back and solder this into the main loom on the door. It doesn't leave anything open to to variation or question. You solder it in, insulate it up, tie it in place with what you will need, if you're going to do it my way, is some small cable ties. On top of what I've already mentioned here, you will need some good quality duct tape. Please don't use PVC tape for the installation that we're going to do. You can use some PVC tape on these. On the final installation, when you put these together, is just a band of tape around there. Gives complete insulation, and more importantly, it makes sure that these can't part. So we'll just put those back. But for the actual wiring in the door card itself, to keep it in place, you really want to use a good quality cloth paste duct tape. On top of that, you'll need obviously soldering and solder. An optional extra that I will show you with the installation that I've done is a glue gun, if you have one. So basically that's where we're at the moment. So 5mm LEDs, colour of your choice, 20 centimeter LED strips if you're going to do the door pockets. These again are available. I will show you these again. These are absolutely perfect for the installation that we are doing, and these have 25 centimeter leads on them, like so. Again, they are absolutely spot on. You can get these with varying lengths of lead, but these ones, 25 centimeter ones, are absolutely perfect for the job. Well, I never buy just what I need of anything. You can buy these in bulk. They're readily available, as are the decent strips, the LEDs. Go to a well-known auction site and find them. Make sure if you are going to do the door pocket and you are going to use these, that you get the good quality ones with these decent leads on them, because once you've done the installation, you don't want any problems to crop in. Okay, that's it from that. Time to move on. The door card will most likely leave these white lugs behind. where are we? Yeah, there we go. You need to prise these lugs out and replace them, pop them back in to these grey locators, and you need to do that now once you've taken the card off, otherwise you will have a nightmare getting the card back on. Now we have obviously the door lying out. Masking tape actually doesn't want to stick to this stuff, so what I've done here is I've put a mark here which is just approximately 5 centimeters from this point, just roughly there. The inside of the door pocket, certainly on mine, this has a soft lining. If you put your hands underneath it, you can actually feel there's a very convenient lip under there. Because it's a soft lining, what I like to do is take the backing off the LED strip and then put an extra strip of mammoth double-sided tape across that. Gives it a little bit of extra thickness and a better chance of adhesion. Alternatively, what you can do is put a couple of odd dabs of suitable adhesive on the back of this, just to make sure that you keep it in place. So we're going to mount this strip just underneath the lip on the inside there, so it sits flat against the outside of this. So it's going to go in like that and just below the lip, which is, I mean, just here. So it actually is quite well protected when it goes in. Now, fortunately, so I'm trying to negotiate the camera and this at the same time, at this top end of the pocket there is a gap, more than sufficient to slip these wires through so that they come out the other side of the door pocket. So we're going to do that bit now, fit this in here. Now the reason for this marking is really roughly, once you've got the wires pushed through on the other side, bring this up so that this section here is roughly about there underneath the lip. Yeah, just at the end of the strip where the wires start there, just roughly about there. Make sure you're in focus. So that's where we're going to go, down under there, below the lip. Having fitted the strip to the door pocket, we'll swing it round. So here now we have our pre-made LED unit. This is actually going to slip so that you can see where we're at. This is actually going to slip into there. Now it will only go in as far as the flange, as you can see there, but that is actually the perfect place for it. Now if you wish, obviously you can actually put a dab of glue on that. I chose not to, and what I've actually done is, I will show you in a moment, is I've used just a small little dab of detailing clay, just to stop any possibility of rattles. The reason that I haven't glued mine in is that if for any reason I ever want to take it out or remove it, then there's going to be no damage to the actual lock and the LED area there. So once you have that in place, then keep the tension on it and just dress the cable with a piece of your duct tape back there, and I will be back in a moment. Having fixed the LED using your preferred method, as I said before, I've actually used a small amount of detailing clay and just pressed it around just to stop any rattles, but it does mean that it's quite easily removed if you want to in the future. A dab of glue in there would do just as well. The LED will only go in up to the flange, which puts it in the perfect position. Once you've done that, obviously now you need to carefully tape the wire down the door. You can see the route that I've taken here, and we come over here, and I've put one here. So here now is our lead from the door pocket LED. Don't cut this short. You're going to need to put a loop back in it, and we're going to tie this from the top into this, and we're going to come up round about here, make a join to our, where are we, male connector, which is going to go in there. When you make up your LEDs, make sure that you have enough lead. Better to have too much than too little, obviously, but once you've got this dressed down here, you can cut it off, because we're going to tie in to the end of that one, and I will come back shortly and show you the end result of that. So here now we have the finished article inside. What we have here is the joins here, shrink sleeved and taped, and again taped on the other side, because this obviously is our male. Now I tend to be a bit of a belt and braces person, so this is completely optional. If you want to, section a shrink sleeve over the male lead, yeah, and a glue gun just either side. It is obviously optional, but it just means if the worst comes to the worst, as I say, I tend to be a bit of a belt and braces man. Not wishing to teach anyone to suck eggs. When you tape, don't go straight over the leads. There is an act to this. Come up to the lead, yeah, with your tape on one side. Get your tape down, come up to the lead and push it nice and tight against the lead. Come over the lead, push it down, and then go down the other side, push it down nice and tight, and then clear that side. What you're trying to avoid is a loop of tape over the top. This is far more secure. If you come up, keep it nice tight crease, nice tight to the lead, and nice tight down the other side, and then tape it. So that's the stage we're at now. It's time to flip it up and test it before we move on to putting the female onto the loom in the car. Time for a quick bench test, so we make sure that everything's functioning okay. Where are we? Okay, there we go. So there's door handle illumination. Obviously, as you can see, I'm using blue. Now, this actually is causing a bit of glare in the camera. But once you have the panels fitted back in the car and everything's up and operational, obviously, if you're finding that you want to kind of shade this a bit, if you're finding it a bit bright, then by far the easiest way to deal with it is just cut some strips of black PVC tape and just tape them over the areas that you want to subdue. Yeah, personally, I've already got some up and running in my car, and I'm not finding any sort of issues with them. But obviously, you can do that as and when you like. This one, I mean, this video that I'm making, I'm only dealing with the rear doors. I'm going to do one for the front doors, but obviously the loom colours are slightly different, but the whole procedure is more or less the same, and I couldn't see the point of going through the whole thing in this how to do it. Okay, so we're going to be at some point cutting into the let's get this right. We're going to be cutting into the loom within the door itself. Now, obviously, if you decide that you want to just use snap lock connectors, okay, this is a yellow, but it'll do for that. If you decide you want to use snap lock connectors to put this into the door panel, then obviously you can do that. Yeah. Personally, I like to, wherever possible, splice in and solder to the loom. It makes a neater job, and as far as I'm concerned, it never leaves anything open to question. So for the, obviously we've all got different ways of doing things, and obviously if you've got a particular way that suits you, that's absolutely fine. When it comes to cutting to the loom, so we'll just use this as an example. Obviously you're going to have a limited amount of space to work in the loom in the door when you come to tie this into it. There's not really sufficient space to get this comfortably in position. If there was more, I would be using this. So this is the way that I would do it. When it comes, you've got two to cut into. We'll identify the colours a bit later on. What I would normally tend to do is let me see, make sure you're in shot. Right, okay. So I would do this like so. Okay, so we've now got two cuts in that, and very carefully, I'm hoping this blade that I've grabbed is sharp enough. We'll just go in between the two cuts. Now we should be able to just, if I've got it right the way through, pop that off. Right, so okay, so there we go. And we want to, I'm just going to use this odd piece at the moment, but obviously we'd be splicing this into the loom. So what we would do from this point is just strip the end off like so. Okay, right. You'll probably want to cut that down. So this is your loom. This is the cable that you're going to splice into. Come alongside it and wrap this like so. Okay, and then at that point solder this into place, and then obviously once that's sorted out, you can then I'll show you the whole kit and caboodle when we actually do it, but a piece of warmed up PVC tape tightly around that. Obviously you've got two cables to cut into. They're fairly close together, but you can stagger the cuts if you're overly concerned. There's enough room to stagger the cuts so that one's there and one's like that. Yeah, and as I say, we'll show a bit more of that when we actually come to do the job. But that is what I find is the best way to cut into a loom if you've got a limited amount of space. It's nice, quick and easy, and by the time that's soldered, there's no question with snap locks not making it proper, or the bulk of snap locks, it takes up very little space. We are in the offside rear door. The positive that we want to tie into is green with a blue stripe, and the negative is purple with a red stripe. Okay, we'll just go through that again. So we have green with a blue stripe, which is positive, and purple with a red stripe, which is your negative side. And obviously we are going to splice our female into those. I've done this so that you can get some idea. This is the rear near side door, and on this you have a blue with a black stripe, which is your positive, and a grey with an orange stripe, which is your negative. Obviously these aren't soldered at the moment, they're just literally hung on there so that you can see what is what. Don't confuse the grey with the red stripe, which is this one, but these are a twisted pair, so you shouldn't get these confused. You need the grey with an orange stripe as shown there. This is as it's shown on the wind diagram just so that you can get some idea of what's what, but please do bear in mind that on different vehicles those colours may change, and obviously if you're doing a different vehicle, check the wiring diagrams or buzz it out so that you know you're cutting into the right pair. Okay, so now we are spliced into the loom, taped up and secured with a cable tie. So here's our tail ready to go into the door card loom. Just to point out, that's the electric window switch and of course the tweeter switch back there. So what you need to do now is plug the door card in and check it before you refit the door card. Tape the join where the two connectors are. Don't forget to plug back in your window switch, your tweeter, and of course don't forget to reconnect that. Pop the door card back on and Bob's your uncle. In case you have any queries, the door card fits in that position right over the top. It goes right forward and then clips down. There we have door handles, door pockets, door handles and door pockets. Job done.